Yeah. Hi everyone, Anthony Plain Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard album, Flight B741. Here we have the 26th full-length LP from the boundary-pushing, versatile, and prolific Australian rock outfit King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. In the past 14 years, this band has been able to amass the hardcore fan base and output that usually only bands twice their age have. But when you actually look at the group's very creative and big picture, holistic approach to writing and album craft, it's not hard to see why they would have the listener base that they do. I mean, rewinding back to their earliest albums, the band could have easily stayed some random Melbourne lo-fi psych garage outfit. There's certainly a scene down there for it, but instead, later down the road, they expanded more into folk music, into progressive rock, metal, pop, jazz, funk, soul, microtonal music, narrative-based concepts, and more recently, electronics too. The band is currently at a point where it kind of seems like they're heading into each new project with some kind of new, fresh angle, and that is also very much the case for Flight B741. As there are a couple of things to note here. One, I think a lot of fans will kind of feel like the music this time around sees the band going back to their roots a little bit, as we are getting 10 tracks of vintage, golden age rock and roll music that sounds like it was recorded or conceived in the late 60s, early 70s, but this time around with a specifically Southern American twist. Think of the Allman Brothers Band, or Canned Heat, or even CCR. Classic rock outfits that have a bit of a rustic twang to their demeanor. A vibe on this record that is only enhanced by the gospel-inspired group vocals and chord progressions on the opening track, as well as on Antarctica, which has a groovy backbone to it that sounds like something lifted out of a New Orleans funk LP, something very Meters-esque, but with a psychedelic twist and big group vocals too. There are a couple of other things that make this a special record in the band's catalog. The vocals, as I guess this time around the band is encouraging members that don't usually get a whole lot of mic time to step up and take the lead, which you can hear most specifically on highlights like RISQUE. However, I feel like this approach doesn't necessarily matter as much in practice as it does in concept, because having listened to and reviewed a lot of the band's output up until this point, for sure I can tell when I'm not getting Stu McKenzie's trademark very gravelly, drony growl. But the respective vocal styles of each band member, they don't vary all that widely, so there is kind of a sameness to the singing across the record. However, this doesn't mean the record isn't without its selling points. There are quite a few good songs in this track list. There's a lot of attitude to the performances on this album as well, and I have to say, in comparison with a lot of the band's recent output, this is handily one of the most bright, joyous, and persistently feel-good records King Gizzard has ever put out, as they're really letting loose on this LP in a way that is just pure fun. Take, for example, the escapism of the track Raw Feel, which is a cute rockin' anthem that's all about whatever it is that gives you that exciting little jolt in life, be it a song you're really passionate about, or maybe even a pill. And if you need further proof that the band is in search of good vibes on this project, take the song Sad Pilot, which is all about letting go of your problems, maybe not sometimes in ways that are all that good or healthy for you, but still trying to leave them behind all the same. There's also the hard grooving Feel Division, which ends off in a very interesting way for any King Gizzard song. I mean, not only are the honking harmonicas and fuzzy buzzing guitar leads on the track great, but I love these group vocals that finish things off with "I'm being a silly, I'm being a silly Billy." And in my opinion, the zanier and more southern the instrumentation on this record sounds, the better. Be that on Hog Calling Contest, where you get more fiery guitar licks, literal pig calls, as well as just some intense band chemistry, or even the momentous closer Daily Blues, which is a 7-minute monster in the track list that ties things together really well, not just musically, but conceptually as well. I mean, this may not be King Gizzard's most conceptual record yet, but there are a lot of nods to the various mentions across the record so far to flying, letting go of hate, letting go of your problems. Of course, there's a lot of symbolism throughout the record with the pigs and the rats too. But yeah, as far as song structures and layering, this is easily the most epic track on the entire LP, and once again, the band is singing very much about letting go of hate embracing love, even with those who you have hatred for. Again, like I was saying earlier, there are some instrumental palettes and group vocal sections that, to my ears, feel very samey across the record, and I feel like whatever makes this album special tends to shrink or blur a little bit when the band dips a bit too far into making this sound like a psychedelic rock record as opposed to a rootsy rock record or a southern rock record or something that has some boogie to it. And for sure, sometimes the band's emulation of these styles doesn't really amount to much more than mere pastiche, but I still thought Flight B741 was a very solid record from King Giz, which is why I'm feeling a light to decent 7 on it. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or a link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, King Gizzard, forever.